Today's a typical day. I came in and got caught up on all the news and took care of sort of how we were going to address any of the media things that had come up. And we'll get media conversations going from everything to the awards we make, to advertising for new grants, to, you know, comments on the national cultural policy, to our programs and some of their outcomes. And it's all over the map, so we always have a conversation around that. Then I had one of my first meetings of the day, which was with one of my staff members who happens to be the governance and compliance person, and we're talking about the council meeting we're about to put on. So what's that agenda going to be? What subjects do we want to discuss? And took that apart, and we're putting those papers together. And then I'm meeting with you all who are interested in hearing my perspective on careers in the arts and the arts world. After this, I'll be having lunch with someone from the sector who's going to discuss with me how they think the national cultural policy is being perceived and what could be in it. So I'm constantly doing those kinds of meetings. I have a budget meeting this afternoon, of course. And then tonight I'm having dinner with some people from some arts organizations and some international organizations together. So I love it. It's varied, it's wide, it informs everything that I do. It's externally focused to do internal things. So it's quite interesting. I think there's three things I'd mention to people who are entering the arts and entertainment world. And you know, I'm not sure they're not the same tips I'd give to just about anybody. But the first is kind of important and incredibly hard to do, and that is believe in yourself. I mean, you can think of yourself as this soul that the world will throw things at, and you will be under constant duress and questioning. That's a good thing. But in the end, what you have to remember is that it's you have to believe in and push forward. You have to be open, but you do have to ultimately believe in yourself. So developing that confidence and understanding yourself and exposing yourself to those challenges that's what we're here for. That's the treasure. I think you have to be collaborative. I think you absolutely have to be collaborative, and that includes a range of things. That includes listening, that includes hearing, that includes asking. That's a really important thing that people forget how to do. And in this world where newspaper articles and journalists push you in one corner or another, it's really important that you don't lose your curiosity. It's one of the most precious little elements we have. And the third area really is think big. You know, we're not just in this in Sydney or, you know, Toowoomba. We're in the world, and these are questions that are around the world, and always keep the perspective of the bigger world that's out there. So those are the three things I talk about. I would love to talk to for a long period of time with Stephen Hawking, who is a very famous scientist who suffers from motor neuron disease, but I find him inspirational. And I'll never forget reading his book, Brief History of Time. And I found myself in the middle of this book about really complex science questions like black holes and understanding them. But I just really find that someone who can write like that and someone who can bring those concepts across so that we can all understand them is remarkable. And I'd love to talk to him for hours. I somewhat agree with that, unless the leadership understands what they're doing with meetings. Most organizations I've been in have been sort of addicted to meetings as a sort of a box check to say, well, I told them about that. We were at a meeting, and you know, and I don't consider that qualification about communication. So, but however, meetings can be very, very useful. But you should have a meeting so you hardly know you're in a meeting. I mean, you should look forward to the meeting because you know you're going to discuss good things or take care of business or whatever. I remember one company I worked with, who shall remain nameless, that the secretary sort of assumed they owned my calendar, and they would book me from 7 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, and various weekdays for dinner. And I said at one point, so when do I use the ladies' room? Well, you can just tell people and get up and get out and come back in. I mean, it was like theirs to run. And me trying to grab it back was not looked upon very well. So the way we run my calendar now is it's mine. And there are times when I need to think. I schedule that in. There are times when I need to have some social walk-around time or go out and see other people, and it's what I call walkabout. And I don't have to tell them what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. I'm going to do it different all the time, but I'm going to do it. And I'm happy to meet on a range of things. I'll meet internally to take care of specific things, and I'll meet externally to take care of things, but I want to balance. I don't want to look up after 2 weeks and realize I haven't left the building. And that's the nature of this job. So meetings are just one tool. Lunch is another tool. Thinking is another tool. Running is another tool. You know, I think you just have to make sure that you don't just do, you also think.